Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's meeting of Georges River Council. I declare the meeting open at 7:04 p.m. I'd like to acknowledge the Bidjigal people of the Eora Nation, who are the traditional custodians of all lands, waters and sky in the Georges River area. I pay my respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who live, work and meet on these lands. Please be upstanding for the Australian National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, all beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains that let us sing, advance Australia fair. Beneath the radiant Southern Cross, we'll toil with hearts and hands to make this Commonwealth of ours renowned of all the lands. For those who've come across the seas, we've boundless plains to share. With courage let us all combine to advance Australia fair. In joyful strains that let us sing, advance Australia fair.
And standing for the opening prayer, which tonight will be led by Barbara Cobb from the St. George Women's Interfaith Network. Thank you, Barbara.
O thou kind Lord, thou hast created all humanity from the same stock. Thou hast decreed that all shall belong to the same household. In thy holy presence, thou all thy servants and all mankind are sheltered beneath thy tabernacle. All have gathered together at thy table of bounty. All are illumined through the light of thy providence. O thou kind Lord, unite all. Let the religions agree and make the nations one, so that they may see each other as one family and the whole earth as one home. May they all live together in perfect harmony. O God, raise aloft the banner of the oneness of mankind. O God, establish the most great peace. Cement thou, O God, the hearts together. O thou kind Father God, gladden our hearts with the fragrance of thy love. Brighten our eyes through the light of thy guidance. Delight our ears with the melody of thy word, and shelter us all in the stronghold of thy providence. Thou art the mighty and powerful, thou art the forgiving, thou art the one who overlooketh the shortcomings of all mankind. That's from the Baha'i writings.
There were no apologies tonight for tonight's council meeting, and there were no requests to attend via audio-visual link. Staff and public are reminded that this meeting is being recorded for minute-taking purposes and is also being webcast live on Council's website. This recording will be made available on Council's website. The order of business is as shown in the agenda. Council's Code of Meeting Practice prohibits the electronic recording of meetings without the express permission of Council. Disclosures of interest. First disclosure of interest I have from Councillor Borg declared a non-significant non-pecuniary interest in item CCL 113-23, which is part of the Environment Planning Report ENV 049-23, Significant Tree Register, post-consultation, for the reason that she participated in Council's nomination process through the Your Say page. Councillor Borg will remain in the meeting and take part in consideration and voting on this item. Councillor Marnie declared a non-significant non-pecuniary interest in item CCL 113-23, part of ENV 049-23, again, the Significant Tree Register, post-consultation, for the reason that he is a member of the Oakley Flora and Fauna Conservation Society. Councillor Marnie will remain in the meeting and take part in consideration and voting on this item. Councillor Marnie also declared a non-significant non-pecuniary interest in item CCL 113-23, part of ENV 049-23, Significant Tree Register, post-consultation, for the reason that he participated in Council's nomination process through the Your Say page. Councillor Marnie will remain in the meeting and take part in consideration and voting on this item. Councillor Mort declared a non-significant non-pecuniary interest in item CCL 049A-23, lease agreement between Georges River Council and Narwee Baptist Broadcasters Limited, 90.1 NBC FM. For the reason that one of the announcers is known to her, Councillor Mort will remain in the meeting and take part in consideration and voting on this item. There was also one other declaration of interest from Councillor Wang, which is, it's on the screen. Yeah, I can read. Councillor Wang declared a non-significant non-pecuniary interest in item CCL 117-23, applications pursuant to Council Award Discretionary Fund Policy, December 2023. For the reason that he is a member of the Georges River Association, Councillor Wang will remain in the meeting and take part in consideration and voting on this item.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. One of those disclosures has been duplicated. The second disclosure should be the tree canopy targets.
So the item number will be updated to reflect that, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay, and that is the second declaration for you, isn't it? Okay. So we will update that with the correct item number. Thank you. Are there any other disclosures of interest from councillors? There being none, we'll move over to public participation on items on the agenda. There are 6 speakers tonight that have requested to speak for tonight's meeting. Submission number 3 will be read by staff, and speaker number 4 will be speaking remotely. All other speakers will address the meeting in person. I would remind the speakers that speakers have a 3-minute time limit. The first sound you hear indicates you have 1 minute remaining, and the second sound, please conclude your comments. I'll take this opportunity to also welcome former councillor Leisha Payer to the public gallery and thank her for attendance tonight. Thank you. First speaker tonight is Stephen Carlisle, speaking on report number NM 084-23, Turunga Terrace, Beverly Hills. Stephen.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, councillors and council officers. You all probably realise that Beverly Hills has suffered parking really badly. The M5 East got tolls put on it, Clearways got extended, the Eggbaston Road car park had 110 spaces and it got compulsorily resumed, and that was 70% occupancy. Now not going to be allowed to use it because they're going to put a boom gate. Only with an Opal card you can access, unlike Oakley that has no boom gate on it. So as a result, pressures on parking. Now what's happened is in Baldwin Street on one side this side of the railway line. We had former Deputy Mayor Michelle Stevens got some additional parking put in place for 15 minutes. That's now been taken away, except for one spot that is, the rest are for the EV charging. And then they extended some for a bus stop. No buses run down there before 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So there are some opportunities we might be able to make some adjustments there. I wonder why we've got to have EV parking in a shopping centre when we could have it maybe in a less populated area like an industrial estate. In Taronga Terrace, that's the shops have survived there, and we've got an IGA supermarket, we've got coffee shops, chemists, etc. We've even got some professional businesses, accounting practices. We've got dyslexia clinic. So there's different people coming and going all the time. Not much parking, and I support Councillor Wang's motion, because we have identified where there could easily be some extra spaces placed without too much inconvenience to the public, and not a real lot of expense to council. So I would commend if the traffic engineers could look at this proposal and speak to the local business owners and see if we can come up with a better solution, because I believe we can solve this problem without much expense. So thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you, Steve. Next speaker is Dr. Kate DaCosta on report NM 086-23, poker machine application in the LGA.
Mr Mayor, councillors, council staff, I'm representing Wesley Mission, and we've been pleased to work with your staff earlier this year to provide data and analysis in relation to the impact of gambling, particularly through poker machines in your LGA. And I thank you for allowing me to speak to this motion tonight. Wesley welcomes the opportunity to work closely with any council as the level of government closest to the daily lives of residents. We will be releasing our Q3 2023 analysis later this week, but I can tell you that Georges River ranks 7th in the state for poker machine losses, running just over $700,000 every single day. And that's $64.5 million just for the third quarter of this year. This time last year, your LGA ranked 9th in the state. These are good reasons why the council should take every opportunity it can to help reduce losses and minimise the harm to residents and the whole community. No LGA can afford to have $700,000 a day taken out of its productive economy. I commend the motion to councillors. The system in New South Wales to approve new machines is strongly skewed in favour of venues, and the ability of ordinary community members to have a say is limited. If councils could speak on their behalf, we would have a better application process. To remind councillors of how the system currently works, any venue which wants more machines must make an application to the Independent Liquor and Gaming Authority, ILGA. The type of application depends on how the locality where the venue is located is rated and the number of machines applied for. This is called the Local Impact Assessment, or LIA system. But in most cases, no local impact is required to be assessed. This is because venues in a Band 1 area applying for less than 21 machines are not obliged to make an LIA application. They just simply apply for the additional machines. 13 of your venues are in Band 1 areas. Some are at maximum capacity now, but not all of them are. 15 venues in Georges River Band 2 areas currently have 1,154 machines in total. If they want to make an LIA application, they will have to notify the council. But there's no specification of how they do this. I've seen LIA applications sent in other council areas that have been sent to the council rangers, who presumably put them in the bin. If there was a requirement that the regulator contact the council and make sure that you're aware of the application, that would be a better, essential part of a stronger democracy where council is representing its communities. In Victoria, councils have the right to have a say in any application, and they can appeal any decision. Your right to do that does not oblige you to make submissions, but it gives you the right, which you currently do not have, to have a say on behalf of your residents for applications. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Da Costa. Next speaker is George Carrard, speaking on CCL 113-23, tree canopy targets for Georges River LGA by 2038.
Thank you for allowing me to make the following submission about tree canopy. I congratulate Council for considering increase in tree canopy. Owing to global overheating, high temperatures will be more frequent in coming years. I would like to see the words global overheating and adaptation to more extreme temperatures or heat island effect mentioned in reports about tree canopy. The increase in canopy should be intended to protect people from more frequent and more intense heat waves. Therefore, the meaning of the word canopy in the context of trees must be cover that provides shade. Canopy trees should be clearly defined as shade-giving trees. Recently, small trees were planted in Baker Street to replace palm trees. Small trees do not provide shade for people, so they should not be regarded as canopy trees. The small trees were planted where there were no overhead wires. Possibly there were other reasons for not planting large shade-giving trees, but I urge Council to use its resources to circumvent these reasons. We have the technology to protect underground pipes and wires from the roots of trees. Examples of streets in the Georges River Council local government area where there is good canopy are one in the section of Martin Place between Boundary Road and the Strand, where the electricity wires are underground, and two in Penshurst Street between George Street and Young Street, where the designers have managed to have large Moreton Bay fig trees, even though the electricity wires are above ground. Congratulations to Council for planting some trees that could grow into large canopy trees in Boongara Reserve on the west side of Oakley Station. I urge Council to remove the crepe myrtles from this reserve that are heavily pruned every year, look very bleak for much of the year, and every year produce fewer flowers than in the previous year. They could be replaced by large canopy trees. I urge Council to plant large canopy trees in the street without consulting owners of neighbouring properties. The present business as usual culture that respects the rights of individuals more than the rights of future generations is bad news for future generations. This culture needs to change to give our children a less worse life than what they are heading for. On private dwellings, the percentage of land suitable for planting large trees should be increased by regulation. I congratulate Council for declaring a climate emergency. The sense of emergency should permeate Council's canopy increase efforts. Thank you, George Carrard.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Kim Wagstaff, speaking on CCL 113-23, Significant Tree Register post-consultation.
Hello.
Hi, Kim, the floor is yours.
Unknown participant is now joining.
I'm speaking on behalf of Oakley Flora and Fauna tonight on the Significant Tree Register. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on Council's recently released STR and the accepted nominations, a significant acknowledgement of the importance of a select number of trees in our LGA. Oakley Flora and Fauna has been advocating for the inclusion of the STR into the GRC tree management policy since this document was first published in 2019, so I welcome Council's commitment to compiling the register. The following comments are made in the spirit of providing genuine feedback on the outcome to date and continuing to provide support for the ongoing development of the STR. The community has enthusiastically embraced the process. Over 60 days of the public consultation, the 253 nominations were submitted. Many off members submitted nominations for the STR. As you would expect, many of our nominations were for Australian native or locally Indigenous trees. Many members are disappointed that their nominations were rejected. The post-consultation report has shown that only 2.5% of the nominations were accepted. This represented 16 sites, including 257 individual trees derived from just 10 species Of these, 6 species are locally native to the local government area, 176 trees. 2 are Australian natives but not local, 5 trees, and 2 are exotics, 75 trees. A large number of rejected species included turpentine, melaleuca, tallowood and syzygium, as well as other eucalypts and angophorus. It is perhaps not surprising that 74 mature Canary Island date palms in Laycock Road, Penshurst, made it onto the list. It is acknowledged that these trees have been nominated for the high visual, heritage and historic value to the local community. It's just that in any local bushland reserve, these palms are listed as an environmental weed for their viability to set seed and proliferate. We just wonder how many offspring from each of these palms have grown in our local bushland and people's gardens over the decades. It is difficult to comprehend that in an LGA that is one of the bushiest in Sydney and prides itself on a rich biodiversity, that in a suburb such as Oatley, the only tree of significance is an exotic pine, a lone pine offspring from Gallipoli, once again of historic value. One way of future-proofing the unique character of our sandstone woodlands around the peninsulas of the Georges River and the Sydney turpentine and ironbark forests, the stiff, that once covered much of this LGA, would be to recognise the native species associated with each vegetation type and to protect them as best we can. So it is disappointing that the remnant turpentine forest in Berea Reserve, adjacent to Oatley Railway Station, that off members since 2018 have helped to maintain bi-monthly, didn't make it onto the STR. I hope that you consider this pocket of stiff vegetation in the next round of nominations. Adding remnant trees such as these to the tree register would convey a strong message to the public that the Council greatly values the remnant, locally native trees in our area. So councillors, please support this recommendation tonight and proceed with all haste to finalise the STR with these thoughts in mind. We are looking forward to further comprehensive and important nominations from the public in the future that will be added to the register. Thank you, councillors.
Thank you, Kim. Our next speaker tonight is Leisha Payer, speaking on CCL 113-23, which is a significant tree register post-consultation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Unknown participant is now exiting.
Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, the establishment of this register is more than a bureaucratic endeavour, it is a pledge to future generations. I would like to express my profound gratitude to the dedicated council staff who have worked to develop and implement the register as part of the new tree management policy, adopted in 2019, formulated by the Director of Planning, Ms. Meryl Bishop. This progressive policy superseded outdated regulations and established a new benchmark for sustainable development and green infrastructure within the new council. I also want to extend my sincere appreciation to the community members, environmental advocates and stakeholders for their insights and support. There is, however, some misconceptions within our community regarding the purpose of the significant tree register, specifically that the register could provide additional protection to a wider range of trees which might already fall under the purview of the whole policy. Rather, the register constitutes an integral component of the tree management policy and has been an effort spanning the past 5 years. This formally began in 2018 with a notice of motion for a tree strategy that encompassed the whole new LGA. In response to various community concerns, I drew from consultants from across the state, including Cogra Council's recommendation for this register back in 2009, which had not been implemented. Within a year, the new policy was completed, incorporating the forthcoming register once funded and approved. The Director had created the framework for this register in a 6-page report that went to Council in March of 2021 with the estimated cost to be included in the upcoming budget. All 3 motions were unanimously supported by the first term of Council. However, due to budget constraints from the pandemic, we prioritised services and the funding was postponed to the next budget cycle, which would occur after the upcoming election. The delay in funding and the inclusion of this initiative in election campaigns seems to have created a disconnect between the 2 parts, with those newly aware thinking the significant tree register is a novel and unprepared concept, and this is not the case. To address this, proactive measures could be taken to communicate the truth and its purpose. As regulatory and strategic frameworks will continue to evolve and strengthen in the future, community feedback may contribute to this ongoing process. Forthcoming directives will inevitably further refine and shape our approach to tree management within the local government area, and it is incumbent upon us to ensure that the community is well informed. Thank you all for your dedication, and may we continue to inspire positive change.
Thank you, Lisa. Our next speaker tonight is Adrian Polhill, speaking on CCL 113-23, Significant Tree Register post-consultation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, particularly to everybody here who's been very supportive of our efforts through many meetings during the year to improve the tree canopy cover. I'm here to support the motion that's been raised by the report that's been issued by the Environmental Committee. I attended the meeting last week, and at the end of the meeting, I said to Meryl, I'll come back and see you this week, to which Meryl said, oh, give me a break. So I'm giving you a break, Meryl. I've only got this much to talk about tonight, and there is no howevers, right? Howevers. Thank you very much for the work you've done, particularly in the last week with Councillor Peter Marnie and your team to improve, to add some amendments that may be discussed tonight to the recommendations on the NV report. Thank you so much, Meryl. Okay, I said there's no howevers. You know I'm so passionate about climate change. So tonight I just want to say that I'm very, very pleased to announce that Sebastian Fausch, a professor of urban design, you may know him already, he's agreed that he's welcome, he's available to speak next February to meet with us and for us to learn more about urban design, urban cooling and urban heating. So I will send a note specifically to the council. That's one lot of good news. Next lot of good news is that I really do feel that we're in a very good position next year to plant more and more trees in the LGA. I know we put a lot of work into planning this year, and I'm sure that we're going to have a very successful year coming up. Finally, the reason these are here, there's not enough to give to every councillor. Sorry, I think there was one or two people last year before they came to the meeting. I just didn't have enough, but there's a lot more. These trees are grown by the Menai Wildflower Group, a volunteer nursery, also staffed by members of Oakley Flora and Fauna Conservation Society. We grow something like 15,000 trees a year, including trees like Alocasuarina for the glossy black cockatoos and koala friendly trees, Eucalyptus punctata. So I just want to leave these small donation to the council. David, you can do whatever you like with them. I look forward to hearing where you're going to plant them, but there's many more trees that we are growing. We're actually growing 10,000 trees for the Greater Sydney Land Care Group to be planted somewhere in regional Sydney next year. Thank you all very much for your attention. I look forward to a very positive year next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Adrian. We could just place them on that table. Councillors, the next item on the agenda is confirmation minutes of previous meetings. We go to item CCL 110-23, confirmation of the minutes of the council meeting held on the 27th of November 2023. Do I have a mover for that motion? Moved by Councillor Catras, seconded by Councillor Ficarra. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. Next item on the agenda are Merrill minutes, of which I have two. Councillors, I will take the first Merrill minute, which is MM044-23 as read, but I will read out the motion that the General Manager write to the Honourable Paul Scully, Minister for Planning and Public Space, and Miss Kirsten Fishburn, Secretary of the Department of Planning and Environment, requesting a 6-month extension of the agreement with Council and the Department of Planning and Environment for the Metro Assist Relief Program. Councillors, I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. The next mayoral minute is Cars Park Aquatic Facility War Memorial Pool Memorandum of Understanding between Georges River Council and New South Wales State Government. Motion: the Council work with the New South Wales State Government through the Department of Sport to deliver Council's third aquatic facility at Cars Park and provide delegated authority to the General Manager David Tuxford to finalise and execute the MOU with the State Government. I'll put the motion, councillors. All those.
Can I just quickly say something if I could? Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to firstly thank you for driving this MOU on behalf of Council with the State Government. This is a really, really positive step forward in the progress of delivering the pool, our third aquatic facility on the site of the existing Cogra War Memorial Pool. We know Premier Chris Minns made an election pledge to rebuild Cars Park Pool, and having the support and involvement of the Office of Sport under Minister Steve Camper's portfolio to help progress, fund and resource the detailed business case, detailed design and development consent for the aquatic facility is a major milestone, and I'm really pleased that you've worked with the State Government then provide this positive news to the community prior to Christmas. So thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Borg. Councillors, any further speakers? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. Next item on the agenda is condolences. Councillors, do we have condolences for tonight? Councillor Kanyasky.
Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, condolences to Marissa Savino's father, Mr. Sam Mirando. Sam was a resident in Blakehurst since 1984. He was a business owner in the area, owning a florist business in Hurstville, Riverwood and Beverly Hills at different times. He loved the St George area and was an active member in the senior Italian Australian community for many years, and also the Kings Road Community Aid Centre Seniors Group. Sam loved his community, and standing outside his shop to talk to the locals, Sam believed in community and donated heavily to charities who supported his grandson who is autistic. Sam will be missed by his family, friends and community. Second one, Mr. Mayor. Vicky McKinley's father, Patrick Charles McKinley, passed away in Bexley Aged Care Facility on 27th October 2023, aged 87, after a long time battling dementia. Patrick was devoted to his family and is survived by his loving wife, Barbara, 5 children, 18 grandchildren, and 2 great-grandchildren. I would also like to express my sympathies and condolences to any GRC staff member who has lost a loved one over the last 12 months. May they rest in peace.
Amen. I'd like to add to that, and given that I work so closely with the executive team, I have had that period of time where I dealt with Vicky in those crucial last few weeks and saw what she was going through. But if this is an opportunity for us to extend more broadly within our community the effects of dementia that it may have on people suffering from it, but also those that are around them and the effects that has on each individual, I think that that's a great opportunity for us to spread the knowledge further. With that, I'd like to also extend my sympathies to any staff member that has lost a loved one over the last year and pay my respects to all of them, but also take this moment to spend as a moment's silence in recognition of all those that have passed. Thank you. We move over to the next items on the agenda, which are the committee reports. First committee report of the Assets and Infrastructure Committee meeting held on the 11th of December, CCL 111-23. Councillor Kanyasky.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Firstly, just Merry Christmas, councillors, GM, director, staff, and everyone in the gallery. I'd like to move the recommendations of the Assets and Infrastructure Committee on items ASS 037-23, ASS 038-23, and ASS 056A-23.
Moved by Councillor Piniarski, seconded by Councillor Stratopoulos. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. Next item on the agenda is CCL 112-23, report of the Community and Culture Committee meeting held on the 11th of December. Councillor Nancy Liu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say recommendation from the committee will adopted by council. At the same time, I wanted to thank you, Councillor Lukanjaski, as the acting chair that day to chair the meeting for the public and the other councillors. Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Nancy Liu, seconded by Councillor Piniarski. Any discussion, councillors? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. Next item is CCL 113-23, report of the Environment and Planning Committee held on the 11th of December. Councillor Marnie.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move two of those items. ENV 04723, review of George River Stormwater Management Manual, and ENV 04923, significant tree register post consultation, as published in the business paper. Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Marnie, seconded by Councillor Jamieson. Any discussions on those, councillors? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. Next item on the agenda is item ENV 048-23. Councillor Marnie.
Well, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just had a couple of amendments that were agreed with the director. They were actually suggested by Open Flora and Fauna Conservation Society, and they are up on the screen now. And just like to move, as it is up on the screen, those amendments, which is D and E. Do I need to read through them, or?
No, that's okay. I think everyone can see them there.
Thanks, Mr.
Councillors, moved by Councillor Marnie, seconded by Councillor Jamieson. Is there any discussion on this item? There being none.
Not discussion, but can we have some time to read it, please? Because this is the first time I'm seeing this. Sorry.
Okay. Councillor Marnie, if I can trouble you to read it out.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Okay, the new paragraphs to D and E, that this and future annual reports include the following information. 1, greenhouse gas or GHG emissions as CO2 equivalent versus percentage of tree canopy coverage. 2, urban cooling effect by reporting the average annual daily temperature versus percentage of tree canopy coverage. 3, details of numbers of trees to be planted, approximate cost, expected drawdown of GHG emissions as CO2 equivalent each year from 2024 to 2038, and 4, details of how many trees are on public land and the respective percentage of tree canopy coverage annually trends. And there's another additional paragraph, which is E, that council approach an expert such as Dr. Sebastian Pouch, Associate Professor in Urban Studies at Western Sydney University, to gain a better understanding of the complex issue of urban heat, including cooling effects of different tree species. And to just elaborate on that, so as I was saying, there's changes where it's just by Flora and Fauna, which advocates for the environment, not only locally but globally. They've been agreed to by the Director Environment and Planning, and will provide enhanced reporting on the progress of our tree canopy, and the community will greatly appreciate the publication of this additional data. Further discussions with Dr. Fouch, who has a PhD in urban cooling, green infrastructure, tree hydraulic functioning, extreme climates and global warming, or another professional with similar credentials, will give council detailed guidance on the effects of urban heat and selection of the most effective tree species. I thank community representatives for the input and passion, particularly Mr. Carrot and Mr. Pollard for speaking tonight, and the director and staff who have presented such comprehensive recommendations, which will be of immense benefit to the environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Marnie. Councillor
I just need to raise to the attention to the meeting that I need to put in a non-significant, non-pecuniary declaration of interest just because I'm a student at Western Sydney University and it's mentioned in the motion, but not in a monetary manner. So it's not significant. Yeah.
Okay, so you'll remain in the meeting, yeah?
Through the
Councillor-
chair, could I
Councillor-
ask the director with regards to the request, the amended information as to will that be done under your operational budget? Would you be able to fit it in? And if so, sorry? Oh, okay, sorry about that. I should have done it. Yeah, could I please ask the director as to whether you can fit all that in your current operational budget? And if you can, will you be doing it the whole of next year? When can we expect that information?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, Councillor Catchus. In relation to the amendments, some detailed discussions occurred with the manager and the coordinator who's responsible for environment. A number of these things we do have this information, we do get reported on in a number of ways. However, what we have suggested in relation to the amendment that we don't report every year, we report every 2 years, because that allows us to get that is in motion C. It allows us to then gives us the time and the capacity to collect the data from the various sources that we would do it. My understanding is it can be done within our operational budget and done with the staff I have at this time.
Through you, through the chair again, I'm finding it hard to read that. Where does it say every 2 years in the motions?
It's in part C of the motion, Councillor Catchus. It's just broken up by that page break, if you can see it. At the top of the, so halfway through. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillors, Councillor Marnie has spoken for the motion. Seconder would like to speak to the motion. Is there any further discussion on the motion? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. Next item on the agenda is CCL 114-23, report of the Finance and Governance Committee meeting held on the 11th of December 2023. Councillor Jamieson.
I move the recommendation that the Finance and Governance Committee recommendations for items FIN 04623 to FIN 04923 as detailed below be adopted by Council. And I just want to quickly like to acknowledge the very positive submission from Mr. Tony Bowdell, President of the St George Business Chamber, highlighting the Chamber's support of Council's sustainable procurement policy and the real benefits this will have for our local businesses.
Thank you, Councillor Jamieson, seconded by Councillor Smerdley. Councillors, any discussion on this item? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. The next item on the agenda is CCL 115-23, Independent Commission Against Corruption Investigation Operation Galley. I'll move that motion, seconded by Councillor Jamieson. Councillors, is there any discussion on the matter? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. The next item on the agenda is CCL 116-23, Council representation to the Floodplain Risk Management Committee. Councillor Jamieson.
I move that the Council nominate Councillor Peter Marnie to act as an alternate member of the Floodplain Risk Management Committee and as chair should the current chair be absent until the end of the current term of council.
Moved by Councillor Jamieson, seconded by Deputy Mayor Borg. Councillors, is there any discussion on this? Any other nominations? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. Next item on the agenda is CCL 117-23, applications pursuant to Council Award Discretionary Fund Policy December 2023. Councillor Jamieson.
I move the recommendation that the application for funding pursuant to the Council's Award Discretionary Fund Policy as outlined in the report be approved by Council.
Moved by Councillor Jamieson, seconded by Deputy Mayor Borg. Councillors, any discussion on this? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. The next item on the agenda is Community and Culture CCL 118-23 Public Exhibition of Draft Resident Parking Permit Scheme Policy. Councillor Nancy Liu.
Yeah, I just want to put the recommendation A and B and print it on the paper being adopted by council. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Liu. Seconded by Natalie was the loudest. Councillor, seconded by Councillor Mort. Councillors, any discussion on the matter? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried.
Can I change it before she runs out?
I saw two green lights. I didn't know which one was first. That's why I got confused. So I went with the loudest. It was you?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter? Happy to recommit. No? Okay. Councillors, next item on the agenda is notices of motion. Notice of motion 082-23. Congratulations to Sans Souci Sea Devils Swim Club. Councillor Nancy Liu.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just try to put on the motion, and the purpose is to congratulate our local swim club, the Sans Souci Sea Devil Swim Club, including their head coach, Mr. Alex Schill, and assistant coach, Miss Helena Mel, for their team's outstanding sports achievement at the 2023 Metro Southeast Summer Championship at Sydney Olympic Park on the 11th and 12th November 2023. The second point is council continue to remind residents to be summer ready this season to foster a lifelong love of water and to prevent drownings. Apart from these main contents, I wanted to add up a little bit background about Sans Souci Sea Devils Swim Club. I'm pretty sure that before I go to detail, can I have someone to second my motion, please?
Seconded by Councillor Toniaski.
Oh, thank you, Councillor. And I'm pretty sure our local councillors, we know this swim club as a very active sports community organizations in our local community. And I wanted to stress because of the season, summer season is a big season for this kind of a sport. Back to the weekend, 11th and 12th November 2023, the Sea Devils team represent their club members at the 2023 Metro Southeast Summer Championship. They did a great job, and they've received 23 gold medals, 15 silver medals, and 12 bronze medals. And I wanted to use this opportunity to thank, I think, the parents and the coach behind the scene. Of course, the swimmers behind the scene, they put a lot of efforts and sacrifice their time to really achieve, to really pursue their sports achievements and their sport dream. So at this time, so that's why I put this motion at the first point. The second, because of the coming season, summer season will be a busy season for the water, any water sports, and from the other recreation point as well, we wanted to emphasize that the residents in our local LGA really put attention for the summer ready checklist, which has been mentioned by Mr. Mayor, Councillor Samuel Mayor at his media release put on our website already. So we wanted to see the people really enjoying the big summer season at the same time to keep safe in the water as well. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Liu. Councillor Toniaski.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Liu, for putting that motion up. I just wanted to say congratulations and well done to the participants, and good luck at Nationals.
Thank you, Councillor Toniaski. Councillors, any further discussion? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. The next item on the agenda, which is NM 083-23, has been withdrawn and will be tabled at a later meeting. Councillors, the next item on the agenda, NM 084-23, parking issues at Taronga Terrace, Beverly Hills. Councillor Wang.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So thank you.
Seconded by Councillor Symington.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you, Mr. Mayor. And for those who are not familiar with the Taronga Terrace, it's on the screen. So my fellow councillors, so I'd like to thank Mr. Stephen Carlso for the public speaker representing the Taronga Terrace business community. His effort not only highlighted the shop owners' parking concerns, but also spearheaded the search for viable solutions. I would like to thank Premier Chris Ming's office for listening to the community and initiating some contact with the Transport New South Wales. Of course, I'd like to acknowledge the invaluable advice provided by Councillor Symington, Ms. Latta, and Ms. Barnes in shaping this motion. Taronga Terrace, as you can see, holds a strategic position at the northeastern junction of the railway line and the King George Road. So this small business hub offers vital services to the residents of the northeastern Beverly Hills area. Consequently, customers frequenting local grocery stores, cafes, and hair salons require short-term parking, while daily commuters using the Beverly Hills train station just around the corner need long-term parking. Balancing these needs amid the overall shortage of parking spaces poses a complex challenge. It's well documented the cause of this shortage include the enduring impact of the M5 East toll on traffic and the parking in suburban streets. Additionally, the ongoing reconstruction of the Edgbaston car park has resulted in the loss of 110 car spaces. However, the motive behind this motion isn't to assign blame to the M5 East toll or Edgbaston car park. Rather, it aims to ignite innovative solutions. Collaborating with local businesses and the residents has been inspiring for me. The positive attitude and creative input from shop owners during our on-site meetings have been very encouraging. We have explored various ideas together, recognizing that we will await engineering investigations. Several possibilities exist. Increasing available parking space is one option. By modifying the concrete slab, adjusting the security fence, or changing the bus parking arrangement, we could potentially create additional parking spaces. Every space is crucial. Another aspect involves a more balanced allocation between commuter and customer parking. The presence of 4 unlimited commuter parking spaces just next to the cafe suggests a potential shift towards prioritizing customer parking. Enforcing parking regulations is also crucial. Reports suggest the frequent breaches of parking limits around Taronga Terrace. Additionally, enhancing road safety along the narrow Wayanga Lane, where school children share the road with cars, is imperative. In conclusion, the Beverly Hills community has endured this parking issue for too long. With recent exacerbations, loss of customer due to inadequate parking is a pressing concern. We now possess initiatives that could yield quick wins and elevate long-term parking issues. I seek your support for this motion, and I assure you of my continuous advocacy for this community matter. I persist in pushing for accelerated implementation and prioritization within our budgetary constraints. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lang. Councillor Nancy. Yep, there's a speak, there's a seconder. Yep, you can. Yeah, I know. I did. I'm not disagreeing with you, Councillor Symington. I'm giving you the opportunity to speak as the seconder for the motion.
Yeah, I didn't try to get.
That's okay, Councillor.
That's what I was saying, you had the microphone on. Okay, I'd like to thank Councillor Wang for bringing this issue to Council. I also want to thank Stephen Carlisle for his unwavering advocacy over the years in the Beverly Hills precinct. Stephen's so passionate about that. That's appreciated. Given the huge loss of parking, it's vital that Beverly Hills businesses are supported with other parking options to ensure that they remain open and operating. I'm pretty confident that our expert traffic engineers can come up with some solutions, and hopefully that will be later in the year. But I'd also like to put a question through you, Mr. Mayor, to the Director of Assets. I just want to clarify something. Has a response been received back by Transport for New South Wales denying the option of having a hybrid use of out of hours?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Symington. I'm unsure as to whether it's actually been received as yet, so I'll just take the question on notice. Thank you.
It's been taken on notice. Councillor Nancy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the Beverly Hills community bringing up this issue and draw their attention about this issue to Council, and Councillor Wang to bring up this issue to the Council meeting. And sorry, Councillor Symington, I didn't mean to just try to speak in front of you, just try to ask some questions. Your name has been listed as the seconder, so I didn't think about too much. Thank you. Sorry about that. And my question is, yeah, I'm pretty sure, I'm confident our engineer team would have come up with some solutions. On top of that, I've got a procedure question about these structure. From the can I ask from the director, Andrew Latta, the director of assets and infrastructure, and about the traffic. I'm pretty sure this issue is about the traffic and parking issue. Is there anything that before that, and I think that the things should be go through the traffic committee, or we need to deal with that on the council meeting. So yeah, question from the director. I just want to make sure in the future will be the structure in place that everyone can get. So that's my question. And the question, same question to the chair of the traffic committee as well. Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, this is a the notice of motion itself is actually requesting a further traffic investigation. That traffic investigation will be placed in the queue of numerous traffic investigations that we've got underway at the moment. We're aiming to actually get this back before the traffic committee, April, May of 2024. So in terms of process, yes, it is following the right process.
Thank you. Councillors, any further questions or speakers on the motion? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. Next item on the agenda is NM 085-23. Congratulations to Council's events team for the Magic of Christmas event at Carsbush Park. Councillor Mort. Moved by Councillor Mort, seconded by Councillor Lansley.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Lansbury.
Thank you.
I propose this motion this evening to congratulate our events team and celebrate a terrific community event that gets better each year. Those that attended this year's Magic of Christmas event on Saturday the 2nd of December at Carsbush Park will no doubt join me in passing on my congratulations to the team for organising a truly wonderful community gathering. The feedback from locals has been excellent, and the magnificent location adding to the appeal of this great event each year. The events team worked tirelessly to secure the important sponsors and then worked with them to activate the occasion with volunteers, sponsors, entertainers, food and market stalls. And even when a bit of fireworks rescheduling was required due to the impending arrival of a severe weather storm, it didn't faze them. What also didn't faze them was the deflation of the giant Santa when a little kid accidentally bumped Santa and down he went. And fair play to the staff. They were on it and comforted that little boy that thought Santa was never going to come to his house ever again. But I just wanted to say how impressive the fireworks were. Everyone went home very, very happy, and congratulations to the events team once again. Great job, and also to the staff for getting the park back in order after the event. It was spotlessly clean. Thank you.
Councillors, any speakers on the motion? Councillor Lansbury is a seconder. Would you like an opportunity? Mike.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I'll just say a couple of words about this. I didn't get down there this year, but I have heard some great feedback about the event, and I saw the fireworks from my place, so they were spectacular. I can concur with you, Councillor Mort, with that. And also, I did go down the next day, and you would never have known anything was on. It was very well cleaned up and taken care of, and you know the staff do a great job organising these sorts of events for the community. It's really important that now we can get out and about and enjoy these sorts of events, cultural events and community events. It's really important that we do them when we can, and the fact that it was a bigger than ever crowd is really encouraging. So well done, staff, and I look forward to next year's.
Thank you, Councillor Lansbury. Councillors, any further discussion? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. Next item is NM 086 poker machine application in the LGA. Councillor Marnie. Moved by Councillor Marnie, seconded by Councillor Lansbury.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Since being elected, I've lodged 3 notices of motion concerning the ethics of gambling, particularly through poker machines on the Jordan River community and around New South Wales. And I again thank all of my fellow councillors for supporting them. Despite Council's strong educational program on gambling and the continuing hard work of non-government organisations, our LGA was ranked 7th highest in the state in terms of losses from poker machines. And as Dr. Acosta from Wesley Mission mentioned tonight, gamblers here collectively forfeited over $700,000 a day, for an unbelievable $64 million in the third quarter of 2023. What's worse is that one licensed venue applied to increase its number of poker machines by 50%. I then discovered New South Wales councils which are able to have a say on so many issues which affect communities. For example, development, health, noise, sport, traffic, roads, parks and pets are not permitted to make submissions to the government on the number of poker machines which can be installed in pubs and clubs. As the level of government which is closer to the community, we as councillors have a far superior knowledge of the problems which face our constituents. The insidious effects of gambling through poker machines are well known, from poverty, domestic violence and ill health, to name just 3. With your support, our council can again lead the way to a better outcome for not only Jordan River residents but those across New South Wales. I thank Dr. Costa from Wesley Mission for speaking tonight, and the mission itself, together with other non-government organisations, for their invaluable advocacy to government and for their steadfast support to those affected by this insidious social problem, and for the director for providing their comments against this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Marnie. Councillor Lansbury.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. I will speak on this one, and thank you to Councillor Marnie for bringing this to us. I have spoken many times in the chamber about what I believe is the scourge of poker machines, and I would like to think, when you look at the stats that are contained in the director's comment, that we've got out of 15 club premises, 1,642 machines. In hotels, we've got 15 pubs and 426 machines. How many more do we need? Like seriously, we've got 150 odd thousand residents in the LGA, and many of them are under 18, so wouldn't be accessing these sorts of venues. I would like to see the venue operators thinking outside of that square and heading towards the direction of replacing poker machines with things like more live entertainment and more family orientated pastimes, things like places like Petersham Bowling Club, which I've spoken about before. There's another pub in the inner city which name escapes me. In the last couple of weeks I read about it. They've spent a bomb on refurbishing it. I think it's down in Balmain somewhere. And they've taken out the poker machines. I just don't want to go down that road. Like, we just don't need to keep adding these machines into these venues. These other ways of generating an income, and it makes for a much more social cohesion if people are not addicted to them, because everywhere they turn, they've got the capacity to, slip some money into it. Obviously, the cashless gaming trials are going to start within the next few months, which is a completely separate issue. But I agree with Councillor Marnie on this, that for social cohesion and as community leaders, if we had the opportunity to comment on them, if we knew that a certain premises wanted to add machines, and we may know anecdotally or not even just anecdotally but factually that it just doesn't require it. Let's talk back to Cold Bay Bowling Club when it was being refurbished a number of years ago under Cogra Council, and I will take credit for this, and I know others have taken the credit for it. I suggested that we remove the pokie machines at Club Lakehurst, I think it was called at that point, and it became a thriving venue because families went there and used it. This is not the only way that a venue can generate income. There are other ways to do it, and if there are more hoops for them to jump through, so be it, in my view. So thank you, Councillor Marnie, for bringing it to us.
Thank you, Councillor Lansbury. Councillors, any further discussion on the agenda item? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. Next item is NM087, installation of additional traffic signals at the intersection of Park Road and Princess Highway. Councillor Stratopoulos moved, seconded by Councillor Smirtle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillors, I put forward the motion that Council writes to the Honourable Joe Halen MP, Minister for Transport, seeking investigation to install a right turn arrow at the intersection of Park Road, Cobra Bay and the Princess Highway for traffic heading north. As per the Director, Council's traffic engineers have received a high number of requests for changes and or fixes to this particular section of the road. As we are limited as a council by the roles we can achieve, I felt it wise to suggest that as a council, we write to the Minister for assistance to ensure safe and efficient transport for our motorists. I understand we wrote to the then state government in 2022 and were unsuccessful in our requests. As the current state government have road safety as one of their key election pledges, I strongly believe that they'll be open to our concerns and act accordingly. Having consulted with the federal member for Banks, Mr. David Coleman MP, I understand that in a recent traffic survey conducted by the said member, over 75 constituents raised their concerns over the right-hand turn from Park Road to the Princess Highway. Having spoken to many local residents who regularly undertake that turn, and they've told me that of the heartache and anxiety that they experience when approaching that intersection, and how a simple right turn signal would ensure that they were able to get through easily and safely, not to mention clear up traffic during peak hour. As mentioned earlier and as supported by the Director, this motion reinforces our Council's commitment to supporting safe and efficient transport. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stratopoulos. Councillor Smirtle. Councillors, any further discussion on the topic? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. The next item on the agenda is NM088, installation of additional traffic signal intersection of King George's Road and Terry Street. Moved by Councillor Stratopoulos, seconded by Councillor Smirtle.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillors, I
I put forward the motion once again, similar to the previous motion. The council writes to the Honourable Joe Allen MP, Minister for Transport, seeking an investigation into the installation of a right turn arrows at the intersection of Terry Street, Blakehurst and King George's Road in both directions. As I understand that council being limited by the fact that jurisdiction for roads pretty much falls under Transport for New South Wales. As per the previous motion, council traffic engineers have also received a number of requests for changes and or fixes to the Terry Street King George's Road intersection. Having spoken to the local state member, Mr. Mark Courray, MP, member for Oakley, I have received exactly the same feedback. And he has also written to the Minister for Roads regarding this matter. I applaud Mr. Courray for doing this. This particular intersection is an absolute nightmare for motorists. Turning right in either direction is pretty much like engaging in Russian roulette, or in simpler terms, an act of blind faith. As most motorists are literally scared of taking this turn, traffic is banked back all the way up Terry Street on both sides. I can vouch for this, as I have taken these turns, as I'm sure a number of my fellow councillors have, many times. The federal member for Banks, Mr. David Coleman MP, recently conducted a survey on traffic matters within his electorate and found 287 constituents who raised the issue of the Terry Street King George's Road intersection. Councillors, I believe this motion pretty much speaks for itself. And as supported by the Director, this motion once again reinforces our Council's commitment to supporting safe and efficient transport. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stratopoulos. Councillor Smoothly. Councillor Lansbury.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And thank you, Councillor Stratopoulos, for bringing this to us tonight. I would have to say that I've had half a dozen goes myself over the years at Cobra Council and one or two cracks at it since we've been at Georges River. It's one of those perennial problems that Transport for New South Wales or the RMS or whoever they have been successively over the years has refused the need for it. They have said in many different forms that an extra phase of lights would slow the traffic down, and my argument would always be, and so will an accident, slows the traffic down a lot more. I'm also very familiar with this intersection, having grown up around the corner from there, and many years ago there was no traffic lights and there were some very, very serious accidents there. At least we do have lights there now and right turn arrows from King George's Road. However, Terry Street is really dangerous. The sight line there, the camber of the road, I guess, on both sides, you can't really see the traffic coming if people are queued, and it's just dangerous, you know. And like many years ago, people cast your mind back to the intersection of King George's Road and Connors Point Road. There was never right-hand turn arrows there. You can't imagine how that intersection functioned without them, but it took many, many years of agitation and pressure to get that particular situation changed. And I would like to think that, you know, it's worth having a crack at this every couple of years and see if Transport for New South Wales will actually take it seriously. I would hate to think that we would have to endure more serious accidents before they do, because there has been a number of accidents there, as I've mentioned before, over the years. But just for safety reasons, it's, you know, right near Mater Dei School. It's one of the ways that people go to get to Blakehurst Public School, plus to get to, you know, Kyle Bay and that part of the LGA as well. It's a very busy intersection, so it would be well served if Transport for New South Wales would seek to consider an extra phase of lights, because I think it would be a much safer intersection if that was the case.
Thank you, Councillor Lansbury. Councillors, any further discussion? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. Next item is NM 089-23, improvement to the intersection of George Street and Forest Road, Penshurst, moved by Councillor Smoothly. Seconded by Councillor Stratopoulos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I put this motion together for a very simple reason, pushing for the safety of our roadways within Georges River. The motion reads that Council writes to the New South Wales Government to investigate an improvement to the intersection of George Street, Penshurst and Forest Road, potentially looking at a solution for traffic lights. I experience this intersection on a daily basis and even drove through on the way here tonight to the chamber. There are significant problems with this intersection. It starts with the angle of the roads creating a significant blind spot. But problems but more problems occur with this intersection during peak hour traffic, when traffic banks up on George Street, trying to turn right into Forest Road, or traffic on Forest Road trying to turn onto George Street. The George Street Forest Street intersection creates flow-on effects for the neighbouring intersection of Queensbury Road and George Street, with commuters queuing across the intersection, causing gridlock for commuters turning into George Street from Forest Road, creating a whole other mess. I've seen numerous near misses of commuters at the George Street Forest Road intersection, likely caused by commuters getting impatient and turning right onto Forest Road, not giving the lawful and safe time space at this intersection from George Street. Or commuters simply taking an educated blind guess because of the blind spots when there is banking up on Forest Road caused by the Junction Road intersection a bit further up. Now, if you check the Transport for New South Wales crash database for the 5-year period between July 2018 and December 2022, it indicates there have been 4 accidents recorded at George Street Forest Road intersection, one resulting in serious injury. I understand that Transport for New South Wales had previously completed an investigation for this intersection, and traffic lights were not supported at the time. Well, it's not traffic lights, Mr. Mayor. What is it? This is simply not good enough. We have seen 4 accidents at this intersection last 5 years, with one resulting in serious injury. How many more accidents do we need to see at this intersection for Transport for New South Wales to take this seriously? Now, in addition to my comments, I have been speaking with our local federal member, the Honourable David Coleman, federal member for Banks. We have been speaking on a range of traffic matters, which includes this intersection. His office has also conducted a survey in the Penshurst area with over 250 responses raising the issue of George Street and Forest Road intersection, Penshurst, stating that improvements need to be made. I've also discussed this matter with our local state member for Oakley, Mark Curé. He has received very similar feedback to these problems of the intersection and has written to the Minister for Roads. On a last note, I want Council to consider this motion seriously. This current state government needs to consider conducting another investigation, potentially looking at the solution for traffic lights or a different measure that resolves the safety issues of this intersection. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Smootly. Councillor Straight-Bubbles. No. Councillors, any further discussion on the item? There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. Next item is NM 090-23. Congratulations to Zachary Swade for winning the Fred Hollows Foundation Junior Ambassador Award. Councillor Marnie moved, seconded by Councillor Jamison.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. This motion is simply to acknowledge this young man for his dedication to both significant environmental and humanitarian cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Marnie. Councillor Jamison. Any further discussion, councillors? I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. The next item is NM 091-23, densities of suburbs in the LGA. Councillor Catras.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll take my motion as read, and I'll get a seconder. I'll talk to my motion. Okay. My motion simply asks for the briefing presentation provided by Forecast ID on the 4th of December to councillors regarding various population forecasts in our LGA be placed on our webpage, along with a schedule of the 2021 population densities of our individual suburbs in descending order from the highest densities to the lowest densities obtained from the ABS data. Councillors, I'm sure that you're all aware of this document, which is basically the briefing document that has been put on our council portal, and that's basically what I would like to see put on our webpage, and also this document, which is a schedule of population density of 2021. The purpose of my motion, excuse me, yes. The purpose of my motion is to provide our residents with accurate information on our local government areas, current and forecasted population statistics that has been provided to us by our consultants who produced it by direct reference to the available ABS data. I believe that we have a responsibility to provide our residents with correct information, and they must have direct access to this information on our webpage. Inaccurate information could easily cause anxiety, ambiguity, and unnecessary argument within our community, and unfounded accusations to various councillors and council staff when they are performing in their roles as responsible councillors and responsible staff members. It could also result in councillors making decisions on false premises and information. Another major reason for ensuring that all the statistical information that we provide to our community is accurate is that we all know that every council is already under immense pressure to implement policies that will assist in resolving the housing issues. Such policies will have to be founded essentially on accurate data that relates to existing densities of each one of our suburbs amongst other merit-based parameters that we will have to consider. The pressure here, councillors, the pressure is imminent, and as we all know, there is no need to reiterate the issues that have already appeared in the press and previous media statements. Councillors, in this present day climate of significant debates revolving around major housing issues, it becomes more important that we deliver to our community accurate data in terms of total population and density of each and every one of our suburbs. In my view, it is extremely important that we identify accurately the suburbs that can take some further increases in density as opposed to those that are inundated with extremely high existing densities. I believe that the table provided by the director below my motion in the director's comments does that precisely and does not take much, and I presume that you've all seen the table that the director has put there. The first highest density was, of course, Hurstville City Centre, then you go to Alloa, Cogra, Hurstville, Penshurst, Carlton, South Hurstville, Riverwood, Beverley, Riverwood, and I put this on record, Riverwood, Beverly Hills, Mortdale, Peakhurst, Blakehurst, Hurstville Grove, Peakhurst Heights, Kingsgrove, Beverley Park, Ramsgate, Oakley and Lugano. That's the whole schedule of all our suburbs in deep, starting from the top with the most densely populated area, down to the bottom, which is the least densely populated area. So that our community needs to have that information, especially when we are going to be forced to be looking at areas for rezoning, areas for increased densities, and areas that can take increased densities, and areas that have had enough.
Thank you, Councillor Catras. Deputy Mayor Ball.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just as a point of clarification, I believe the data in the table is already contained on Council's website, just perhaps not listed in the order of ranking that Councillor Catras is calling for. I just have a very short comment to say that the beauty of data is that it can be presented and displayed in multiple different ways to serve many different objectives. What one set of data says is not always supported by another set of data. That doesn't make one set of data right or another set of data wrong. They just serve different purposes and analyse data in different ways. And I support this motion as it seeks to provide greater transparency to the community on one of the sets of data that we have that will play a part in informing some of the planning for our local government area. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Ball. Councillors, any further speakers on the motion or against the motion? There being none, I'll put the motion.
Reply, Mr. Mayor.
There's no speakers against Councillor Catras, so we just put the motion. Councillors, all those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. Next item on the agenda is questions with notice. Question with notice 037-23. Councillor Smerdley, state government criteria for councils to install roundabouts. Are there any further questions, Councillor Smerdley?
No, I'm content with the answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is 038, update on notice of motion NM 043-23, Oakley Como Bridge. Councillor Mort, any further questions?
No, recognise the response from the council officers, and I appreciate if we can try and get some headway with moving forward with getting the upgrade happening at the Colma Bridge.
Councillor Catris.
Mayor, I think you asked a question, not an address.
Correct, Councillor Catris. Are there any further questions at all, Councillor Mort? Noting.
No, I was just, my question went on, so
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mort. Councillor Wang, remediation of Kempfield 09039. Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor Wang. There were no further questions on that. And the final one is questions with notice on 040, Council's overall community language plan. Councillor Wang, any further questions?
No, I just thank you.
No further questions. Thank you, Councillor Wang. Councillors, that concludes the items in public forum. We now need to read out. At this point, the time being 8:28, is it? Yep. 8:30 p.m. The meeting will move into a committee of the whole to allow consideration of a matter in closed session in accordance with Section 10A of the Local Government Act 1993. That in accordance with Section 10A, Clause 2 of the Local Government Act 1993, Council enter into closed session to discuss CCL 059A-23, lease agreement between Georges River Council and Narwee Baptist Church Broadcasters Limited 90.12 NBC FM. That in accordance with the previous provisions of Part 1 of Chapter 4 of the Local Government Act 1993, the matters dealt with in this report will be considered in closed council meeting at which the press and public are excluded. In accordance with Section 10A 2E, it is considered the matter contains information that would, if disclosed, prejudice the maintenance of law. Then in accordance with Section 10D, it is considered that if the matter were discussed in an open council meeting, it would, on balance, be contrary to the public interest as it contains information that would, if disclosed, prejudice the maintenance of law. Feels like it's just repetitive, that part. Accordingly, members of the press and public are excluded from the closed session, and access to the correspondence and reports relating to the items considered during the course of the closed session will be withheld. I will ask the General Manager if there have been any written representations of objection from the public.
No, Mr. Mayor.
Councillors, I call for a procedural motion to move into closed session. Moved by Councillor Lansbury. It's just a procedural motion that we move into closed session. I'll put that, councillors, all those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. Councillors, the Committee of the Whole recommendations from the closed session in relation to CCL 059A-23 lease agreement between Georges River Council and Narwee Baptist Broadcasters Limited 90.12 NBC FM be received and noted as a resolution of council without any alteration or amendment thereto. Councillors, do I have a mover for the motion? Moved by Councillor Kanyarski, seconded by Councillor Catris. I'll put any discussion on the matter. There being none, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. All those against, I declare that carried. I declare the meeting closed at 8:35 p.m. Thank you, councillors, and Merry Christmas.